think don't take any more calls in there in the other room, who sounds like they're partying already over there. We have Matt. What's the best placeholder for God when teaching daughter about good life philosophy? Matt, are you there? You're on with Claire, Dale, and Kendall.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
I know it's kind of a slippery question, but I mean, it's actually really, I'm really glad that you talked about cluster B personalities and stuff like that. Long story short, and I try to keep this from being winded, I grew up in a household. My mom grew up Jehovah's Witness and ended up converting to like a Methodist. She was basically excommunicated from her religious foundation and her family and stuff. My dad, I would say, is somewhere between a deist and a pantheist. So my household didn't really have this ironclad religious teaching. It wasn't, you know, it was basically going to church on Christmas and Easter. I wasn't forcing anything, but a lot of the ideology behind it, I was taught growing up and stuff. Basically, the things that are dependable. You guys had talked about, like the golden rule and stuff like that. And so I always considered myself an agnostic. Like I didn't know, but I just had that, you know, that firm grounding in that there is something that you can count on. And through being in a toxic relationship with a person, and this is just the face of what kind of brought me to dig more into things that led me to being an atheist. But it got me looking at some of the colder realities of nature. That's kind of like what pulled me out of the sorrow, was really seeing some of the real suffering in the world and stuff. But my thing is one of the things that I always hung on to was do the right thing and the right things will happen. And, you know, from a probability standpoint, you know, you do good things probably will happen, but it's not the case. It's not something that is, you know, ubiquitous. It doesn't always happen. It's not always there. Like bad things happen to good people, bad people get away with things. And, my thing is I want to convey, like, I want my daughter to have security in what she knows, but it's like, what is the placeholder? Because it was huge. I mean, my world was turned upside down when I kind of had to start dissecting all this stuff and looking at, okay, there is an uglier side of nature and stuff like that. And oddly enough, watching videos on insect life somehow got me to that point. If you watch how, I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but if you watch just how ruthless it is 1 second you're alive, but it really like got me, and that's what got me to the place that I'm at. How can I comfortably convey the truth that I've come to realize about the world without, which I am a nihilist, but without sounding like a nihilist who is completely pessimistic about the world, because I'm not.
First of all,
if that was winded.
Claire's favorite caller.
What did you say, Kendall?
I said, first of all, you just became Claire's favorite caller.
Yeah, I'm an entomologist by training, so
okay.
Little bug-on-bug action, really.
Nice. Yeah, it sounds so crazy but like when you watch it, it's like, and you magnify it, it's like, well, you know, life kind of is, and I really got into, you know, researching Darwin and stuff like that, and it's not really the survival of the fittest, it's more so the survival of the just fit enough, and how just, you know, everything kind of, I don't know, I just really got into that, and I believe that it applies to even us, even though we think we're special somehow, and we're not, but I don't know, I don't know how to, you know, it sounds so unimportant. Like people really want to derive this objective purpose when really the purpose is purely subjective. And I don't know how to, because people are really put off when I have conversations with them, and they're just like, they're like a deer in headlights, you know, that I think like that. I'm sure you guys can relate.
I definitely relate.
Yeah, I'm not terribly keen on the idea of life needing a purpose. We're here because of evolution, and the purpose and the meaning is defined by you. and what you want to do with it. Dale, why don't you go ahead?
Well, yeah, this is the stuff, isn't it? This is really, these are just really great great things to be grappling with. The thing that occurs to me is that whether someone believes in God or not, no one has ever been helped by a God. No one has ever been cared for by a God. That has always come from people. And the realization that neither more nor less meaning and purpose and help and comfort and compassion is ours in the absence of a God, because the God is absent regardless of your belief. One of the things that I flash on immediately is this. I remember reading this story about a woman in a church community whose husband had died, and this was an article or something that was describing how her church community came together, as they do, and brought her meals and took care of her house and gave her hugs and kept her company. And she said, at the end of the article, she said, and in the embrace of that loving human community, I could feel the embrace of God, right? She was only feeling the embrace of people. She was only feeling a human embrace, and she was then reframing it, thinking of it in terms of God. But I think the answer to your question ultimately is that all of the purpose, all of the care and compassion comes from people. You know, it comes from other people. That's the placeholder. And it's, we can say, well, it's not a complete substitute for God, but the fact is the reality of God isn't a complete substitute for God either. God has never been giving us these things. Everything good that has come about has been from people taking care of each other. And so I think it's a matter of framing it in that way and letting your child know that in terms of being able to count on something, it's you. My child can count on me. I will always, I am going to be someone that can always be counted on. And then they move out in circles into their life and build more and more relationships with other people who care for each other in this mutual relationship. That's the replacement for God. It's us.
Okay. Yeah. And it's just such because you want them to have, see, the crazy thing is like, I was always kind of taught that comfort was exterior to us and, not to ask questions about it. And when I further asked questions and had like conversations with my mom, she hits the basic brick wall that all theists have that becomes immediately circular. And I just like when this whole, whatever it was that needed to be counted on or whatever, when I was going through my hardships, like, oh, wow. So it is just kind of me and it is the people that I surround myself with. It's almost more work for the child to be taught that than it is to just teach them the truth from the beginning. Because at some point they're going to be horribly let down. And it's like, I don't know. I definitely want my daughter to be self-sufficient and mainly be able to rely on herself. I mean, of course, I'll always be there for her. I love and cherish my daughter, but things happen, So it's like I definitely want to ground her in being confident about herself and her abilities. So.
How old is she?
But she's young. She's very young. She's 3.5. She'll be 4. And I know it's kind of early for me to be asking these questions, but time.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Yeah,
it's not.
When they're 3.5, really when they're 3.5, nothing stops them. They have all the confidence in the world, and I felt like my job was to keep that, not break that. Yeah. That my kids were fine. I just tried to stay out of their way as much as possible, and give them the opportunities that would help them grow and learn and so forth. I'm reminded when you were talking about the God-shaped hole and all that stuff. On Godless Bitches, we have an outro, and it kind of fits here, and it's like I almost always screw it up, so I'll try to say it right. We don't need a savior. We have each other. It's all we've ever had and all we'll ever need. And that's a Jen Peoples-ism. And it's true. I mean, if you think about it,
yeah.
The people around me, I feel so fortunate. And I didn't just fall into them. It's having those relationships takes work.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's making. Go ahead.
Do you guys have any recommendations also? And this is just really quick. Like, so then there's the issue of my mom, who is a theist, and she almost gets kind of offended. And I don't go into it far because, you know, quite frankly, it's not really her business, but I want to respect her. So like, I try to entertain the conversations, and, you know, that we can and do have morality consistent all on our own. We don't need to derive it from something outside of ourselves. And I have these conversations with her, and it's hard because I you know, tell her, I have to tell her, and I know how much she's hung on to it. And I know that it has gotten her through, you know, hardships of her own and stuff like that. So I don't ever want to discount what she believes. She can believe whatever she wants to believe. But when those conversations come up where, you know, she's trying to kind of press me that she should have this or she should have that, and I tell her, like, I'm not, you know, comfortable. If she wants to go down to your church and play with the kids and stuff, but if they're going to be teaching her that stuff, I mean, that's not wrong for me to tell her I don't want her sitting there learning this stuff.
No, I don't. Not at all.
I don't. And he was talking about the parables. I mean, that's another perfect kind of segue, because it's like, I don't want her learning the parables. I don't know who your other host is, but she was saying that it's based in it's almost fear-based. It has
Kendall,
nothing to do with empathy. Yeah. And I fully agree. I mean, if you've read the Bible, or even know, I mean, Matt and Don clarify a lot for you when you watch the show. So, you know, there's a lot of atrocities in the Bible. So that's definitely 100% not the code of conduct I want her living her life by. But how do I go about doing that, you know, still respecting my own mom? Because it gets heated.
Yeah. Dale has a couple books on that sort of thing that deals with parenting and that sort of thing. You want to deal with that one, Dale?
Well, I guess I would refer to the books.
Yeah.
One of the things, I mean, honestly, one of the things that I like about the way we put the books together is that it has a number of different contributors. And you get perspectives from people who see things differently and have different experiences with it. So, you know, rather than just present my take on it, I would really recommend looking into those resources.
What are the could you just name them?
Yeah, Parenting Beyond Belief has.
Okay, I'm sorry if I didn't hear you. I was just trying.
It's okay.
Sure, it's Parenting Beyond Belief.
What was the second one?
The second one is Raising Free Thinkers. And Parenting Beyond Belief is essays from a number of contributors. Raising Free Thinkers is a sort of practical companion to that. It has Q&A and resources, and they go hand in hand fairly well.
Okay.
I hope that helps, Matt.
No, it does. It definitely helps. And, you know, I talked to, when Eric told me that you guys were going to do this show, and I found out tonight that it was live because I saw it in my side scroll on my YouTube. I was like, oh, wow. And I didn't think I'd get through tonight. So I very, very much appreciate you guys taking my call.
I super appreciate your call. And check back in with us on Saturdays at 1 p.m. on the second and fourth Saturday of the month. Let us know how things are going.
I will.
All righty.
I'll do that.
Thanks so much, Matt.
Thanks, guys.